this is cjhoyle. Today is Monday, May the 30th, 2022, and today I'm going to ride my bicycle to the new IKEA store that opened in downtown Toronto last week. So I'm starting my ride today from this big giant silver maple tree that's located within the schoolyard of Huron Street Junior Public School in the Annex neighbourhood. I've always been really fond of that very large giant tree. It's hard to get a scale of how big it actually is until you actually come and visit it. But from here I'm going to make my way out of the schoolyard and onto Huron Street, where I'll head in the south direction and make my way down to this new store that I've never been to before. It only opened last Tuesday, which was the 24th of May. Although IKEA has been in the Greater Toronto area for a long time, but as far as I know, they've never had a store that was actually within the downtown core. But from what I understand, this is going to be a fairly different IKEA store from some of the sort of more suburban ones that are more like a warehouse. Although I can't say I have a lot of experience with those stores too. This is actually only going to be my second time ever visiting an IKEA store. I've never bought any furniture from my IKEA. The only one item that I bought there before was kitchen containers, which is what I am planning on using for holding my overnight oats that I like to eat. If you've watched my travel videos, you may know that I like to eat overnight oats to start my day, which basically you mix a bunch of dry ingredients together and then you add a liquid to them before you go to bed, and by the morning time they're ready for you to eat. Just making a left turn here from Huron Street onto Bloor Street, and we'll take Bloor for a little bit in the east direction. This IKEA store is located at the intersection of Yonge and Gerrard, in a building that's called, I believe, Aura. I might be mispronouncing that. But it's a building that sort of has retail space on the bottom couple of floors, and it's a high-rise residential condo, which is quite tall, and they light it up at night. And I can actually see that building from my window in my apartment. Pretty recognizable. It's got a red light here at Bedford Road. My plan is I'm going to take Bloor as far as University Avenue, and then I'll head in the south direction. So today is the last Monday of May, which in Toronto is designated as Bike to Work Day. So this morning, before I started my work day, I joined a group commute of other riders riding throughout the city, heading down to City Hall, which I guess is to recognize that a lot of people that live in the city live sort of outside of the core, and they make their way by commuting into the core and, you know, into the downtown area, somewhat close to where City Hall is. So that's the commute that a lot of people do, and they do it on a bicycle. At least the people participating have the option of doing it on a bicycle, so it's always fun to participate in that. I've actually never done that kind of a commute myself from my actual job. I've never actually worked in the downtown core of this city. I have, however, commuted further away from the core of the city. I used to work up in North York, and these days I work almost entirely from home. I don't know why that TTC bus thought that they had to ride in the bike lane, but I guess it's not really a full bike lane. So yeah, this morning I just went for the group commute, just for the fun of riding with others, and then once we got to City Hall, I stuck around and listened to some of the speeches and whatnot, and then I got back on my bike and rode back home to where my actual work is. So this is, technically we're on Queen's Park Circle right now. That's the name of this street, but further north of here it's called Avenue Road, and further south it's University Avenue. I think a lot of people would call this University Avenue because Queen's Park is kind of, well, that's what's straight ahead of us. That's the park. And there were bike lanes that were installed here right at the very beginning of the pandemic, or within the first couple of months of the pandemic. They were installed as part of a program called Active TO, and they've now been made permanent. I'm just noticing over here, it looks like they're filming some kind of a movie over there. When you see white trucks, they're all lined up along the side of the street, and there's orange cones on the outside of them. That usually means there's a movie permit filming thing going on at the time. They film a lot of movies in the city of Toronto. Usually they make Toronto look like other places, like New York City, to film movies that are set in places like that. And I guess the reasoning is because it's cheaper to film things here than in the actual cities that they're pretending to be. Over there on the left up ahead you can see a fairly large stone building. That's the Ontario Legislature, which is often called Queen's Park. That's where the Ontario provincial government holds their meetings, and all the members of provincial parliament have offices there. And right now we actually have a Ontario provincial election going on. You may notice some election signs up along the way in this ride. And this past weekend I actually went on a tour of inside of the Ontario Legislature building, and that was through an event called Doors Open, which is just where typically civic or government buildings allow people to come inside of them and get tours of things. I also went on a tour of the Lower Bay subway station, which is an abandoned subway platform that hasn't been used since the 1960s. So here we've arrived at College Street, and I'm actually going to be making a left turn here, but I think I'll do it in 2 stages because this is a pretty wide road and there's a lot of cars. So I'll just head across here and we'll wait, and then I'll make a left turn after the next light cycle changes. So it feels kind of hot and humid right now. There was a heat advisory that was put out yesterday that's supposed to be for today and tomorrow. The temperatures are supposed to rise quite high, into the, well, quite high by Toronto standards, into the low 30 Celsius range, like 31 or 2 or 3 or in that sort of range, with a lot of humidity too. But today feels like maybe we're at maybe 28 or so. Maybe not even that. But relatively hot considering that we're still in the month of May. I mean, just barely. In a couple of days we'll be into June. So yeah, my reasoning for going to the new IKEA store is, I guess, partially just to sort of see it, but also because I want to buy more of the containers that I can use for mixing my overnight oats, pre-mixing them ahead of time, because getting all the ingredients out and mixing them is kind of a nuisance, I find. So I like to do as many of them at a time as I can. So I want to get a whole bunch of these containers. They're really inexpensive too, and then I can just do a big batch of them maybe once a month, and then I'll be able to go for the whole month without having to mix any ingredients. All right, we're just at Elizabeth Street here, and I'm going to make a right turn onto this. And we'll head down to Gerrard, which will take the rest of the way to my destination. It's a pretty bumpy street though. Even though it has a bike lane, it's maybe not the best street to ride along. Although, for the viewers at home, it won't seem nearly as bumpy because the camera that I use for recording these videos is pretty good at smoothing out the bumps. So here we are at Gerrard Street West, and I'll make a left turn here and we'll continue our way down. This time I'll do it in one stage. I'll wait in the middle of the road and not need to do the two stage. I do both styles of left turns depending on the circumstance. I gotta wait for all these cars to pass before I can turn. That guy's turning left too, so I can go ahead. And this portion of Gerrard has a bike lane on it as well. I'm just getting over a little bit of a cold, that's why my voice may sound a little bit different in this video. But it's almost gone. Here we are at Bay Street, and the next major intersection is Yonge Street. Can already see one of the signs on the left for IKEA. Yellow and blue sign. Not a big sign. So I'll try and find, looks like they have some bike parking over there on the left, so I'll make a left turn over that way and lock things up, and then we'll head on inside the store. So here I found what I was looking for. The reason I like these containers is because they're 600 milliliters, which is the exact right size for the quantity of oatmeal that I eat every morning. I've already got 3 of them at home, so I'm picking up another 27 today. Alright, well my shopping trip is now complete. Hope you enjoyed coming along for this adventure today. If you watched all the way to the end of this video, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comment section below, and thanks for watching.